Just I want to share this to my page. This is where the song does come in handy.
Yeah.
Oh, why is it not going on there? There we are. There we are. There we are.
There we are.
All right, getting some people coming in.
And all right. All right, here we go.
Sweet.
Hey, this is a Two Hippies, One Drunk on the Road edition. We're coming live from the flags. I'll get better at this. Hey,
I don't even know what you fucked up. That sounded like what you were supposed to say.
No, I messed up. Tyler, note for yourself for the or for whoever edits this.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Two Hippies. Hey, this is the. God, fuck me.
Great. Now I have COVID.
I know. Hey, this is the Two Hippies, One Drunk on the Road edition. We're coming to you live from Flagstaff, Arizona, and on this week's episode, we'll be covering our time in LA, San Diego, and Phoenix. Hey, hello, guys. Hello.
Flawless intro.
Flawless. Loved every second of it. That's not gonna be difficult at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm sorry. Hey, we're all getting used to it. I have a new intro. It took me.
It's true. This is really the first episode.
Right. It took me an entire year to get that one down.
Got to learn that chemistry on the road, you know?
Yes. So, hey, guys, here we are. This is our first official On the Road episode. We are, as I said, coming in from Flagstaff, Arizona. I mean,
in this hotel room.
From
Super 8.
Super 8.
As we've been liking to say to each other, nothing says Flagstaff like those curtains. If you're looking, if you're watching on Facebook Live. Anyway, we got Scott. It's weird. Because it's there we go. Scott Scott Ryan on my right.
Yep.
Flawless intro.
Tyler Charles on your left.
On my left. And so what we're gonna do, we do have, as Scott wanted me to mention this, we have kind of been teasing a very, very hilarious story. And I wouldn't normally like to sell something this much, but it is. But we're gonna on these episodes, we are going to attempt to do them mostly chronologically because we just think that makes sense as far as just making the episode not too sloppy.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Go in order.
Right. So we are going to start, as all you know from our first kind of episode, we were in Hawaii. We all got sick. And then we flew back to LA and we spent a few days in LA. And we're basically, what we got out of LA was a pretty cool Hollywood tour. Do you guys want to say what you feel about that, I guess?
Actually it was really awesome. The only thing that was the issue was like, it was freezing. Scott, I made this note in my head because it was such an old man thing to say, but he said the cold got in his bones.
It did. I stand by that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say just, you're a little loud sometimes.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Never heard that before in my life.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
Okay. There we go. Right there.
No, it definitely did. Like, that's not exaggeration. When it's now no longer you're being affected by the cold and the cold becomes you.
And I will say this about that tour, and I feel actually to blame for this. The weather looked like it was supposed to get like a little sunny and warmer, and I'm like, and Scott put on honestly an appropriate attire for what we thought it was going to turn into.
Yeah, 65,
and it just never did. And I felt bad about that because he wanted to bring a coat, and I was the one who told him not to. So,
but no, it was definitely. We were like the only people on the bus.
Yeah.
It was very cold.
I do kind of wish that they had like Eric was talking about, like somebody actually telling you about this stuff. Like it was a recording like you listen to about the town, which is cool, like in its own respect, because I feel like you're getting a ton of information. But I do like those like characters that like run those trolleys sometimes.
Well, I will say, so we did what's called a hop on, hop off tour. And the reason I did that is I have done it at other big cities where I was new, and that is the situation that they had. They had a person up there and really like, getting you into the story. It was fine and it was nice. She did tell us some stuff. It wasn't as nice as I hoped it was going to be.
I really liked that they mapped out basically the entire OJ story for us.
They really did.
They were really into that. They're like, there's the alley where she got stabbed. Like, there's the fucking restaurant where the guy worked. There's like where he took off. Yep, that's where he lived. Where he came back from after the famous low speed chase. They really did. It was an OJ tour with some other stuff on the side.
No, it is funny that we mentioned because we were on. I mean, it was we spent about 5-hour tours ish, 4 or 5 hours on this bus driving around LA and Santa Monica. But Scott's right. Like they mentioned OJ 3 times, and like one of them just literally being like, "Hey, when OJ was broke," and the funny thing is when they said when it turns out OJ owed money for a civil suit involving the death of his wife, because the other 2 times
they had to throw it allegedly in the other 2 times.
No, they didn't even mention really the death of his wife. I don't believe. I think in the other ones they just kind of like, this is where OJ
had his troubles.
Well, one was they said this is the house he fled to in the infamous white Bronco chase.
Yeah.
And then the other was just like something about his wife. You're right. Maybe they did say she was murdered there.
Or the alley where she died.
No, were they all in the house though? I guess
they went to the house. They went to her house that they boarded. Changed the address of the place and stuff. I'm pretty sure
there's like a little alley on the side of her house where she
was. Okay. So, but yeah, OJ was mentioned 3 times on the Hollywood tour, which is kind of wild. And yeah, it was cold, which was a little bit of a bummer, and we were still all not feeling great. And when you're not feeling great, like the day before, we had gone on a kind of a cool place, saw this famous observatory, which I can't remember the name of, but you went up and got a very cool view of the city, but it was sunny and 70. And when you're sick, that will help. And when you're sick, cold and windy will not help, unfortunately. But sorry.
Surely you're not suggesting that we were out in public still sick, Eric. That almost sounded like what you're saying.
No, that's
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you were saying.
We were definitely, we'd gotten completely better at that point. We just the cold, man. It was like it's worse. You're in the first day or 2 where you're like, okay, I'm back to feeling 100%, and then you're just out here. And the thing is, too, if you wanted the cool part of the trip, the cool part of the bus tour, you want to be sitting on top. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just like you're riding in a car. Mm-hmm. So you got the wind blowing on.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I would say is like when you're down below, you're kind of just like you're riding the city bus.
Yeah.
And when they're pointing things out, which again, it would have been nicer when I've done hop on, hop off tours before. There's been a person up there, and the thing with this one was the recording was nice, but you might have gone 10 minutes without them saying something. When I've done, which is why I picked hop on, hop off in the past, is like they've really been like, and on this corner this happened, and we're coming up, like they were interactive the whole time. We didn't get that. But when the lady is saying the few things she's saying, if you're on the roof, you can see them more.
Yeah.
You just really, when you're in the seat of the bus, you felt like you're just in a kind of a slightly nicer city bus, and it's not as nice, but. But that was the weather. It was really cold, and that's life.
The only thing I would say is I did love it for the most part. We did get to see some cool stuff. We got to see the stars that like Hollywood
stars Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame was freaking awesome. That theater we went to. Do you remember what it was called?
I thought it used to be called something else, but it seems like they were calling it the TLC. But like I used to think it was called the Gremlin something, but it's not apparently. But anyway, everyone will know the theater that's referenced all the time where stars will have a big movie premiere and they'll place their hands in cement and kind of, that was really cool. We all found out that most of us, 3 of us, have bigger hands than several celebrities.
We could beat them in a fist fight because a fist fight is determined by the size of your fist.
Yeah, the mass of your fist.
Yes.
And Tyler's right. And under the conditions we were in, the cold and some other things that, whatever, it was still pretty cool. Like we still, driving around LA, I told the guys, like, big cities, I don't feel too worried about like getting to places, but LA is such a different beast. And so even if there wasn't the best conditions, we all kind of agreed that like we saw a lot of stuff that we would not have been able to do if it was up to us driving around in the minivan.
Yeah. And like if Jack Nicholson or Robert Pattinson want to come at me, you know where I am.
Get these hands.
Catch these hands.
Catch these hands.
I mean, literally, we saw what their hands look like. And not impressive.
Not at all. Tiny little bitch hands.
Other than, by the way, what was it, like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, his hands were giant.
Massive.
Big old hands, man.
Yeah. Would not fuck with Arnold Schwarzenegger, turns out.
So that was kind of LA for the
Turns
most
out.
Right.
Sorry.
No. That was kind of LA. I mean, the thing was, we get in Wednesday. That was basically our LA trip for the most part. It was just a situation. And then from LA, we popped down the coast to San Diego, which was a fun drive. Yeah. We took the 1 for a lot of it. Anybody that knows anything about California knows that the 1 is like the more scenic version of the drive, going through your Laguna beaches, Newport Beach, whatnot. Did you guys have anything about those things that rings special or not really?
Man, Laguna Beach was something else.
Yeah,
like,
it was beautiful
definitely say
and
that.
honestly, like next level, like wealth.
Yeah,
it felt like the air was cleaner or something.
I was waiting for like a bodyguard to come knock on our window and tell us we need to
get out. Yeah. We went to the wrong gated community.
It's like if a gated community were an entire city.
Town, yeah, city for sure.
Yeah, that was interesting. It was really cool though. Like I've heard of those.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the views we got to see of the ocean, because it was a great day for it. It was very sunny, and it was warm, and you do get a sense like the wealth is unreal in reality, like next level wealth. But you do get a sense of like where that slow kind of pace can come from. If you're just in this little town, you have money, and you're just like, yeah, we'll wander on down to so and so, and get a coffee or something, man, and just like I don't know, like that whole beach life,
Yeah, absolutely. Which was very prevalent throughout that entire area.
Right.
Oh
right.
yeah, there's a lot of people living off of like their parents' wealth, and their job is like they're a house DJ at parties.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, that's where Lauren Conrad came from. So, what I mean?
All of her little friends, too.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, like, they live a different life, and it's a beautiful, more glistening, better life.
Well, and the plastic surgery places look very fancy, which was surprising to me given what they did to her face.
Yeah.
What I'll say about it also, I'm a person, personally, I'm literally, as usual, wearing a Michigan shirt that's representing the Mitten. I love my state of Michigan. I love it so much. But you do see that if someone lives in an area where it's 70 and sunny all the time, how much easier it is to be active. How much easier. I mean, there was beaches where there was like 20 volleyball courts set up.
And everybody was there.
Right.
Too. Like they were all down for it.
And we're in January. We're not talking June, July. We're not talking like a 2-month period.
Yeah. Not the summer at all. Like a whole different vibe, like in January.
This is a lot of excuses for why everybody in Laguna Beach has abs and you don't, Eric.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's that damn sun.
It's the sun.
It's the damn sun.
It's the damn sun.
If there was more sun in Michigan, I'd have abs. But yeah, right.
and a sunburn.
Well, I'm not even getting into that.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare if I were you.
I'm not going to.
We're not gonna.
But so then we get into San Diego. I'm trying to think. So we get into San Diego on a Saturday, and I will say this is where we've all started to talk about this. This is where the real meat of the trip started, because like we get in, we've been driving, and me and Tyler go out and do our first comedy of the trip, and it's just a different beast than what we're doing open mics in your own hometown, where you're just at home and you're like, okay, I gotta leave in a half an hour, and you didn't really do anything, driving 4 hours and in the car, and then getting your groceries and setting up a hotel room because we're all trying to do it on cheap. Not complaining, but it's when it really started to rubber hit the road on this trip.
No, it really felt like that to me too. Like even just sitting there, because like at the beginning of the show, before the show started, once the show started, there were probably like 20 people there or something. But before that, there was nobody there. It really did feel like, this is open mics, just the same kind of thing, but where nobody knows you, you don't have that community, and you're just like your own like fucking cheerleader, more or less.
Right.
So it's like it really did feel like the start of the grind of this trip.
Yeah, and you guys said that show had hecklers.
Oh yeah, it was a heckler night. Like they essentially make the audience heckle you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things in open mics that I think that people that do shows like that regularly try to find some kind of gimmick to make it different than most.
Yeah.
I would say personally, the guy running the show was a really good guy. He liked us. He's been interactive. Awesome. It's just one of those things. I think personally, unfortunately, based on, you need a little more of a crowd there. It can't just be all comics. Now, by the end of it, there were crowds, but then by that point, they hadn't really explained the heckle thing. And but it was an open mic. That's the deal.
And you also said the host of the show was throwing around the word retard, which makes him a friend of this podcast.
Well, her.
That was her. So the guy running the show was a guy named Adrian something, I believe. But there was a girl that was hosting the show, and yes, correct. In fact,
in LA of all places.
Well, San Diego.
Oh, San Diego.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think you could say it in LA. It's still at this point. But we were in a place in San Diego where they get retard for, and actually a few more trans jokes than I would have thought, to be honest with you. Like
quite a few.
Like legit guy, and like not like in a way of like a guy describing going on a date with a trans chick and him going, "Oh, she's a dick. I'm out," or something. And it's like I just say, "Oh, wow."
That is a funny thing I think we are experiencing a little bit being on the road, where it's like when you there's a certain level of content that people do publicly. And when you go to shows, I mean, it is still sometimes like you can be surprised at the humor in local comedy places.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like on my end, I have jokes that I would never put on Facebook, but I would feel comfortable on stage saying, because I feel like they would see me, they'd hear the inflection, they're in front of me, it's not a screen. And so I think that's you're right. And
there's not a group of people at a comedy show coming to like scold you.
Yeah, they're there for the comedy, so they're more open to it.
Do you want to get into what we did before comedy on Sunday night, which was a funny situation, by the way, but that was our little trip up to the lighthouse, I guess you could call it?
Yeah, we went to there's a lighthouse in San Diego, and I'm sorry, going forward, we're still learning how to do this. We're gonna write down the names of all these places before we start them in the future, so we're not just going, yeah, there was a lighthouse in San Diego.
Yeah, that is totally fair.
But it was this weird, we were looking to kill time, and Eric found this little spot. We drive up there, turns out it's a national park, and it was
$35.
It was mind-blowing, and it was beautiful.
No, it was $20 for the day. And we thought we were going to have to spend $20 more. And this whole trip is, budget. So we can stay on it as long as we can. And we were a little disappointed. But then Eric remembered that his brother got him one of those national park passes. So we got in there for free. Checked out this place that was honestly really awesome. So
I'll say it was called the Old Point Loma. I'm assuming Loma, Loma Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And what was cool about it is that it was on this like kind of, I guess you could call it a point. Yeah, because it's called Point Loma. And we're driving, and it was weird because we were coming out of the city. And even though it was very obvious, I mean, at one point we probably went 3 miles straight, going up in an upper way. But like you weren't like on a mountain where you could see it. And then all of a sudden you kind of got to where the point was, and we were able to look out and see, holy crap, we're high above San Diego.
Yeah.
Very cool view.
Surrounded by ocean and city. 2 cities you could see within eyesight. You could see 2 cities, which was pretty weird for me. I've never seen anything like that.
And a testament to this volunteer, this retired volunteer who worked there and was doing presentation on medieval weapons. There was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It matched in our experience. That amazing view, that amazing situation. It was like, oh yeah, the view. And then like that old guy kicking ass with his medieval weapons presentation. Like that was the experience of the lighthouse.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so the deal was like you said, we went out to this point. It was this really cool view. And it's a national park, so you tend to get, guys. And there was to Scott's point, there was a volunteer that was doing life. Yeah, what was it? Battle. Life as a
medieval weapons.
I think it was life as a soldier in medieval times.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Life as a soldier in medieval times, and this dude knew his shit for one, and was very enthusiastic. Would you like to one
of our favorite things.
We'll describe him for one, the fact that there was like 7-year-old kids, and he's
he's playing to the 7-year-old kids.
Yeah,
like, that's his main audience. Everybody else is there, but he's making eye contact with these kids. He's talking. And he's getting like graphic sometimes, where he will be like, "Oh yeah, you got to cut their carotid artery, and then once you get done with him, you got to put this guy down or whatever." Like literally thrusting the weapons at these kids and going, "Yeah!" Like,
yeah. He scared the shit out of one of the little kids. He did this like slow build up and was like, "You're gonna be on the battlefield, and there's something going on," and then all of a sudden lunges at this kid with an actual sword, and it was like this far away from this kid's face. I mean, I knew that he was in full control, but that kid definitely jumped back, and it was like, dude, that's a testament to how amazing you are. I kind of jumped when you did that.
Yeah, totally. And if I were one of those kids, I would have been. I would have been into medieval weapons then.
Hands down, it's my new thing. For real.
Yeah. He was it was really cool though, because also he was obviously so knowledgeable. He actually went, and this was something that legit us as 30-year-old guys, me in my later 30s, had never even I mean, you kind of know that movies aren't how they portray things that probably aren't real, but you don't really either look into or think about how it really is. And so a cool thing he kind of did, for example, is he kind of went through like, what was the movie?
Braveheart.
Yeah.
And used that as an example of things that would have happened that they show in the movie, how they portray fighting and things that really would happen. And I don't think we don't need to explain exactly what he said, but it was like, he was going through little examples of like, dude, this is why the movie is bullshit. This is how it really would have been. And he was so enthusiastic. I said, if he weren't a national parks dude, like if this were a street performer, I would have left a tip.
Yeah.
Because I literally learned something and got education, or entertainment, which we all got out of it.
We were getting ready to leave. We were walking out, and we saw he was holding a weapon we hadn't seen yet, and we
ran back over there. Yeah, we had to see it. He was he had muskets on there too. I don't know.
We never
saw that.
We never got into that, but we did. But we walked in. I remember this specifically. We walked into him describing again to a few like possibly 7-year-old boys the benefits of attacking someone with a knife or a dagger versus a mallet, not a mallet, but like a club,
like a mace.
Yeah,
a mace. And he's like going through why, like, oh, if someone comes through a door and you just have a mace, it doesn't mean you'll get them, but if you have a knife, boom, boom, boom. Even if you
doing the stab it,
literally,
you just gotta jab at him.
Like even if you miss, you'll still get them. So
they'll bleed out. Like he literally said, like slash this carotid throat or like artery, so you'll have them bleed out,
and you'll have time to put down another guy.
Yeah.
And what I would say, to be honest, that is something I enjoy and I look forward to on this trip more of when you go to these national parks. I mean, for real, a lot of times you do get volunteers that they have knowledge on the subject. They're maybe retired, and you can get some of these gems, like kind of diamonds in the rough, where they're going through shit, and it's like it's entertaining and educational in reality.
Yeah, meeting people is one of the coolest things that has been. Like everyone we've met, if we've met anybody, has been unique. Has been like an individual person that like I haven't met back home.
Well, I think the thing is, to me, the difference is because in a way, no offense, but that's almost like, oh, duh, obviously.
Yeah.
But because the way we're traveling and we're spending a lot of times, even though in a way we're in cities for short periods of time, we're taking a whole week in these states and we're really deep diving and going on, we've all gone on separate walks, even like through the city or this or that. And you're meeting people just on such a level that you don't meet even if you're on vacation, in my opinion, because on a vacation, you tend to like, well, we came here to see a concert, or we came here for these very specific things. But luckily, we have a freedom in our day where we can kind of just go with where the day takes us. And that.
So Eric, I was curious. I know you said you wanted to keep this to 30 to 40 minutes.
Right.
Do you kind of want to just mash together the San Diego and Phoenix shows?
Yeah, let's do that.
Talk about them.
Yeah, man, the time flies, man, when you're having fun. When you're describing fun, I guess. So we can get into comedy shows and yeah. So we had one more night of comedy that we all three did in San Diego. That was rather, again, just an interesting comedy show in the end. Do you want to describe what the actual situation?
Okay, so we've all been paid to do stand-up, and we've all done stand-up for free. I've never had a situation where I had to pay money to do stand-up.
Never paid for stand-up.
and we kind of talked to some people, and they're like, it's a little bit of like a LA, San Diego sort of thing. Like they're allowed to get away with it because their scene is so big. So we went to this show and paid $10 to do stand-up
in a strip mall.
In a strip mall.
Yeah.
Paid $10. The show was supposed to start at 8. Didn't start until 9:30 because there was a big football game going on that ran into overtime. And then it turned out we were the only 3 people at the show, and the people running it were actually like rappers who were doing this on the side for money.
Yeah. They made $30 that night.
But you know what? Sure. We had good sets and it was fun.
Someone bought Scott a beer.
Yeah.
Tyler had a really good reaction to his songs.
A lady who did a very confusing heckle that I was very confused about and responded to her. Was like, wow, you really like got me with that response. I'll buy you a beer. And I'm like, I didn't know what was happening.
That same woman came up to me and said, great job. So,
and I would say this, Scott, no offense. Like it just shows you the difference if you haven't seen a lot of comedy. Because, and this is, like I said, no offense to you, but like I thought you handled it just kind of like a normal comic. Basically, your situation was like, you guys anyone ever
like, I don't know what's going on.
She said, I was talking about the movie The Revenant. She goes, you stole that. And I was like, I stole the idea of the movie The Revenant?
Well, no, and all Scott had asked, he goes, hey, has anyone seen the movie The Revenant? Yep. And she goes, you stole that. And I'm like, he stole what? Asking a question?
Yeah, exactly.
But she was a nice person in the end, and she literally bought Scott a beer. She told Tyler he had a good set. So, I mean, it's just that's comedy life for sure.
Me and Eric both got the distinct impression her and her husband might have been hitting on me.
Oh, yeah. No, they were. I was on stage while they were talking, and I was like, whoa, they're trying to get Scott in that third.
Yeah, it was a lot of long handshakes and shoulder touches for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that was a crazy night. And then we drove, packed up and took this entertainment train into Phoenix.
Choo-choo.
And I don't know why I said that, but I did. And we're going to roll with it.
Yep.
We got to Phoenix. And I will say this, the Phoenix show, because it took us a few shows on the road. We hadn't been doing comedy on the road, and we've been already in a weird thing, sick in Hawaii and this and that. The Phoenix show was the first one where I really walked in there feeling like there was a sign-up sheet. There was comics there that, like, no offense, like the one show was just us three.
Yeah.
The other show, not to be mean, but I felt like a lot of comics didn't really have a rhythm. This show, you could tell there was a scene. There was comics in the back. They had notebooks. There was a sign-up sheet. It was a little more like an open mic that we're kind of all used to. And it was a lot of fun in the end.
It really was. We were all three of us were really happy with our sets. Tyler had a guy just walk up on stage while he was playing music.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of my set, too. So it's like, I guess I got to address this bullshit. And it wasn't even like, I was thinking, like, in my head, if nobody else had referred to or, like, referenced it, I would have just left that guy up there so I didn't have to deal with him, because he was just standing there. And then some of the staff came over to be like, yeah, we need to get you off the stage.
It was a weird thing. I can't imagine being that guy, because you're up there like, hey, like, what's going on, buddy? Like, how's it going? And he's just standing there staring at you. He's got two like people working at the restaurant trying to coax him down, and he's just kind of staring blankly.
And I should say, if you go to our Two Hippies Facebook page, Scott or Tyler posted a photo of it that we took of him on stage with Tyler. It's worth checking out.
It's a great photo.
Yeah, the guy looks like he's almost about ready to get handcuffed.
Yep.
And Tyler's just kind of looking at him. And,
yeah, like
and it fit. I will say this: it fit the place we were in. This place was. I mean, we all digged it. But like, it was a very grimy room.
It was a dive bar.
Yeah, it was a dive bar.
A dive bar that possibly has like low-level punk bands on the weekends. Not great, but they're up there doing their thing. But it was fun. We all really had good sets in the end, and it was fun. It really felt like we were finally really doing it, what we were trying to do here. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And then I guess we'll get to this and.
All right, here we go.
We're going to get to the story.
Right.
So anyone that's been watching our Facebook page knows that something with this already happened, but we haven't fully talked about it yet in a real way. But basically, we'd gotten this place in Phoenix that I had looked through. I knew it was kind of a weird situation, but I didn't realize exactly that it was essentially a golf resort hotel, and actually, even more importantly, a timeshare resort situation. And when I signed up, they kind of shuffled me into this guy. And he's like, "Oh, I could give you $100 gift certificate. All you have to do is sit in through a 90-minute meeting." And in the end, I decided to do it because I've always heard of these things. Everyone has always heard of these things. And I thought, dude, we're on the road. We do need money. And I actually didn't think these two would do it. For some reason, I didn't think they'd do it. I went back and I was like, dude.
Which is insane.
Yeah. We were on board immediately.
We're like, can we do this too? Let's get $300 in gift certificates.
Right. And so now I will say this on the people's. Should I? Do you care if I mention the credit card situation or no?
No, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay. So there's going to be a policy change after us. There's no question about this, because they allowed 3 people to sign up for a timeshare. Because you got to remember, the part of this is they're trying to find people that are going to buy timeshares. And they allowed 3 people, one who has a debit card, one has no credit card.
Okay, here, let me can I explain this situation real quick? So we're in a situation, we're on the road. I have my debit card didn't show up before I left, so I'm having it mailed to me. So
I forgot about that.
I have nothing. Tyler has his debit card. Yeah. So we end up talking to him. We're like, well, can I? I'm like, can I be on Eric's credit card? And then Tyler's kind of like, well, why don't I just be on Eric's credit card too?
Right.
And so they let all three of us signed up on his credit card.
And they sat there at the desk. I mean, so think about this. They're trying to shuffle people in to buy timeshares. And I'm confirming to them out loud that one of my people in the party doesn't even have a credit card. And I'm not saying that means that you're not a good person, but I'm saying it might not be the person who's probably going to buy a timeshare.
Sure, yeah.
Or
me in my tie-dye hoodie asking my friend if I could borrow his credit card. Like, it's not a good sign.
Right. So we got 3 bottles of wine for one, by the way, before we even went into the meeting.
Yeah.
And so we all know it's a scam. Everyone knows the timeshare deal. We all knew this. But on the other hand, we've all since admitted, I mean, we talked about it the night before. We talked about it. I mean, we woke up. It was all we talked about until we had to be there at 10:30 a.m. We were all up by probably 8.
Yeah.
And
we were really worried that they were going to get us. You know, we were worried about like what tactics would they use? Like, are we going to be like in a like legit intense enough situation where we would buy it? Like, that's the impression I was under.
And I'm trying to remember, didn't you? I said it felt like going to jail, and I believe if I remember it, Eric, did you say it felt like you were about to get your ass kicked?
No, I felt for me in my lifetime, the biggest thing I could equate it to was like the many times I've wanted to maybe like text or ask a girl out because I've gotten rejected so often that I know I'm about to get rejected and I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like to me. Like, I know I'm about to get fucking hurt, but I'm still going to hope this goes good.
And we have to be into this thing by 10:25. And it's 10:24, and we're just kind of pacing outside. Like, okay, are we going to do this?
You're going to do
it?
Oh, I was
okay,
one
what's
of these.
it going to be like? Yeah, doing a slap in your
Getting
face.
yourself
like,
ready.
We did a little fist bump. We're like, say no, say no, say no.
Yeah,
exactly.
We had people talking to us beforehand, being like, you know, oh man, these timeshare things are rough.
Yep.
You better be ready. In 90 minutes, that is a full-length feature film.
Right, a funny
Long
Vince Vaughn
time.
movie, if you will. And
Well, no, except the timeshare thing exists.
I just say that. I don't know why. And so we get in there, and right off the bat, like, we get in there and we're fine. I was kind of like, hey guys, let's try to be respectful.
Yeah.
We know we're saying no. Let's try. And for real,
It's my credit card, guys.
I do have a credit card down, and I'm staying at the resort with a credit card down. So like, let's just not try to laugh in their face.
Yeah.
And so then we get there and we're sitting down and we got a little.
We were completely normal. We were totally fine.
Can we explain really quick? Tyler, you were dressed in like
a hoodie.
What you're wearing now.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
I was wearing like a tie-dye hoodie, and Eric was wearing like a Simpsons tie-dye t-shirt and pants that looked like they got caught in a lawnmower.
Oh, yeah, like the Hulk wore them, and he broke free.
Right, and they actually don't even fully fit, so I'm always pulling them up.
Like, you know, like when a toddler ruins the bottom of their pants from stepping on it, like that.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought I heard neighbors like pounding on our wall or something. Anyway, we are doing this out of a hotel, but it's
it's like 6:40.
Yeah, it's 6:45. Anyway, so the scene is then we're sitting there, and again we're literally trying to be respectful. Like, our goal was like, hey man, I know this is gonna be weird. We're so nervous, by the way. We're sitting at this table because we also thought it was gonna be like a presentation with like mass people. We found it at the end, and no, we're gonna go individual salespeople, and they're like, oh crap, man, we're gonna fucking sit there, and we sit there, and I swear to God, I started going like. I started at about 5 minutes. I go, 5 minutes, okay. And then about 8 minutes, I go, Tyler, Scott, it's 8 minutes, man. So in 2 minutes, like we're at 10, then we only have 80 minutes left, no matter what, for this presentation.
We're leaving.
We're leaving at noon.
And also, for the record, I just want to say they promised us Danishes at this place.
Yeah, never happened.
No Danishes.
You know what? In the end, we still won. But
I was going to say too.
But I was sitting there that first time. I'd be like, "Where are the Danishes? Are they bringing the Danishes?" They promised us.
Eric said, "Don't laugh. Like, we're not trying to laugh in their face."
I
was gonna be completely fine, but I realized, like he said, that it's going to be an individual basis thing, except me and Scott were going to go together. They like grouped us together for some fucking reason. So we would have laughed in their face if they had us in front.
We wouldn't have been able to.
We wouldn't have been able to help it. This guy is like straight
my
up
credit card. Anyway,
I mean, what are they going to do? They have to like give us the timeshare stuff. We just say no.
And
they did. They really fucked up by giving us the $100 in gift certificates right away.
That was their mistake. I've heard they don't always do that. We got lucky. They gave us the $100 right away, and we're sitting down, and like I said, 10 minutes went by, and we were being good people. We were being good little boys. 10 minutes went by, but once we got to about 15, 20, they started having salespeople walk to the desk and look at us, and they weren't happy. Grimacing.
Audible
groans, having to talk, and then just
we
leaving.
heard some guy whispering and be like, those guys, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And at that point, we are starting to crack a little bit at the situation, but not much. I think we were still holding it together mostly, but I would say more like a relief. Like we started looking at each other going, dude, they don't want to sell it to us.
Yeah, we'd underestimated. We knew how much we didn't want to deal with them. We'd underestimated how much they wouldn't want to deal with us.
So then here's where it really gets going. A lady named Susan comes in, sweatpants Susan comes in.
This woman was dressed like she was homeless. Like she was doing the thing we were doing, but just not as effective.
And alone and older.
I wouldn't say homeless, but I would say she wasn't dressed up for the occasion.
Okay, these were not sweatpants that have a figure or anything. These are like sweatpants that are like.
I would say sleeping. She just got up from her timeshare
I would
thing
just say
that she's at.
She was dressed better than we were.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, not you guys, me.
Yeah, her pants did not.
She was dressed better than me.
Tears.
She was dressed better. I'm a 37-year-old man with a Simpsons shirt on, waiting for a timeshare pitch. She was dressed better than me, not you guys, but me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Susan comes in. We don't actually know, and we're like, okay, guys. We started to say it. We started it at this point, by the way. We had gotten there at 10:30. They told us that we wouldn't have to be there at noon, and it's about 11:45. And we started
10:45
or 10:45, and we started to say, when can we just leave? When can we be like? Is it 11:15, 11:30? And then with sweatpants Susan in there, we're like, if this girl goes before us, I'm gonna start being like, yo, not that we care because we don't want to be sold to. And then do you remember this, by the way? I saw him walking up the stairs.
You did it. You're like, those are the marks.
These are the targets. These are the targets. An older couple, probably in their 60s, expendable income. They're at a nice little resort. Yep. They maybe are doing it for the 100, but they could be sold because they probably have the money. And we say, I see these guys come up. And then I did say to these guys, I'm like, dude, if those guys get called in and we have two people now in this lobby other than us, what are we going to, we can leave 2 groups.
Yes.
And they got pulled in immediately.
Before they could sit down.
They signed up, and before they even could sit in their chairs, someone John and Susie, why don't you come back with me? And we cannot hold it in anymore.
No,
we are laughing audibly.
Like out loud.
Okay, to the point where we all immediately just busted and laughed. And they're walking past us. And the old couple and the saleswoman both turned and looked at us as they were walking past.
Well, I should say, so the old couple, and that was bad. We were now, we actually, before this, we're starting to chuckle about the situation, but not still not obnoxious. Yeah. This old couple coming in though and getting bring in right away. We just started audibly laughing.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't that far after them. I mean, it might have only been a minute.
Yeah.
That sweatpants Susan got called in.
Immediately.
And then we were borderline hyenas at that point. We couldn't control her. And I was the worst of the 3, I think, in the end. Yeah. I think I was the worst of the 3 in the end.
That's true.
And then what? How much longer after that? It was pretty much like
less than
at that point. We are just cackling. We are now being a problem.
Yeah, making a scene.
making a scene.
We were, and I will say this, even at that point, that wasn't my intention.
No.
I wasn't fuck these people. I really was just it was so obvious what was happening and so funny that I don't know who could have sat there and not laughed.
Yeah.
It wasn't even, in my opinion, disrespectful. We weren't trying to be. Not that it matters. I'm not that we owed them anything, but I'm saying I still don't think it was, though.
No, and it was the perfect situation, too, to be honest. I know I talked to you guys about this, that when you're in your mid-30s or whatever, we're not teenagers. We're not in our young 20s anymore. So you don't want to act like a jackass in public too much. And most of the time, if I were in a situation where me and my friends in my 30s all got the giggles in a public situation, I would try to pull back. I would try to not be that way. But there was definitely a moment where it was oh yeah, also fuck these people, and this is a strategic move. We've already got our
right.
gift
yeah
cards.
money. We got our money.
And I got the text saying that the refund, because you had to pay $40 per people here to
like a
down payment to make sure you go. But I already got the text saying your money's been refunded. It was supposed to be right away. And so we had the hundos in our pockets, and we knew the money was back in the account. And so we're like, we've won. Yeah. We fucking won. And it was not probably a minute after Sweatpants Susan got called in that I love the name. It's like that the guy comes up and he goes, he is, and I gotta say, I never thought about this until right now describing it. I actually give this dude credit for saying this with a straight face.
Yeah.
But he looked at 3 cackling idiots waiting for a timeshare, and knowing we had seen several salespeople walking around, and he's with a straight face looked at us. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Actually, it turns out we don't have any salespeople that will help you today. But thanks for coming in, and you're free to go. And I will say this again: I am the one who told these 2 guys, let's be respectful. It's on my credit card. Whoever you are, dude, it's not your bad. I didn't mean to do this to you, but I laughed in this dude's face. And I don't think I've ever laughed in someone's face before in my life. I could not contain it. I turned around and we had to start walking down these stairs.
Well, and 2, can I just say real quick? You did that. You laughed in his face. Then you got up and started to walk out. I caught on to your laughter. I died laughing, and I'm like, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
At least you said something, though, because if we all just laughed and laughed. Yeah, Eric just laughed in his face, got up, and started walking, and cackling down the hall.
And we were all cackling down the hallway at this point to where, like, it had to have fucked up all of their presentations because this was not that far of a distance. So everybody who was getting a timeshare sold to them just hears fucking, like, somebody doing a just belly laugh walking down the hall.
I don't know the time in my life I laughed louder or more obnoxious in my life. I'm sure I have. I don't remember when it was. We had to walk down these little stairs too. I was laughing so loud. I'm like to Scott's point there. 100% they would have heard this in these pitches.
Yeah.
And it's like those salespeople would have been sitting there probably just like, so anyway, yes, we have some great deals. Those fucking assholes, fucking kids. Oh yeah, and so we have lovely. You can anywhere go in the country. We have a legacy location, and
or they might have done one of those like a pause and just like, you get some weirdos in here.
Yeah, you got some crazies.
I certainly wish I could hear what the talk at the water cooler a little bit after that, as it were. Was. Yeah,
and I don't think we stopped just laughing hysterically until we got back to our hotel.
No, it was a good 5 to 10 minutes of straight laughing.
How can you not? They just kicked us out because they knew they couldn't sell to us.
I've never been happier to be a fucking loser in my entire life, honestly.
And by the way, the other story is, yes, we got the $100, and yes, we got a lunch, dinner, breakfast, and 4 bottles of wine.
Yeah, we did.
We scammed the scammers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott got some socks. You got some.
I did. I bought a pair of, because we were really just trying to blow our money. Yeah. I bought a pair of like bougie $9 socks.
That's the thing. The funny thing is, in the end, we had so much money we had to we literally had to get trinkets, like to spend the money because we couldn't spend it all in the end. Actually, that they gave us. So hey, thanks, Legacy. Guys, great time. Everybody ever want to go to Phoenix, Arizona? I'll tell you a good place to go. They give you $100 for doing nothing.
No, they changed their policy.
yeah. People like us are not allowed in there.
There's no way people did not get a talking to.
Anyway, so that was that. We did that. We did our 2 hippies yesterday, and like as I said, we're here in Flagstaff, Arizona. Tomorrow we're gonna head up Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
As far as this on the road edition, we'll continue to do our 2 hippies on Wednesdays. The on the road will kind of be between Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, depending on just that week of when it fits for us. So I can't say 100% what day we'll be doing this next week, but I will say, we'll have had the Grand Canyon, we'll have had Albuquerque under our belt for sure, and probably Roswell, New Mexico under our belt. So
and actually, because we kind of had a stunted episode with the Lost World because our first recording didn't work. So we didn't actually say this at the end, and normally we do. Our next episode is my episode, and we're going to be doing an aliens one because we're going to be in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah, why? How can you be in Roswell, New Mexico, and not do a themed episode on aliens, right? So, Dan, thanks so much, guys. And remember, the 2 hippies, 1 drunk is every Wednesday. That's an episode that's mostly travel related. Some might bleed in, but we try to keep that just for a standard episode. I do my biggie comedy venture on Monday with my friend Amy, and that goes over also stuff on the road, obviously. And then this one, hey, I didn't mention this on our other one because again we kind of had a weird situation, but no big deal, no pressure. We've gotten so much love and support from all you guys on social media. It's really been blowing up, and it means a lot to us. If anyone can find it in their heart and they want to help support us, we're offering 3 episodes a week plus a lot of content on our social media. $1, if you could maybe find it in your pocket to give us $1 a week. Not even $1 an episode, $1 a week. My Venmo is Eric Fady, ERICFADIE. You can also search TWO Hippies, but it's the same thing. That's my Venmo. And if you hit us up other ways, if you don't have Venmo, we can obviously work something else out. But no big deal, no pressure. Some people have already given, and we appreciate those people that have. But again, just throwing it out there.
And also another thing too is just because we're trying to do anything we can to make money, we're trying to have different, present different options and stuff like that. Also, Tyler sells his art.
Yes,
you can contact him and buy some of his art if you want to support us.
On the 2 Hippies, 1 Drunk page, or on Stargazing, or on my page, Tyler Charles.
Yes. And I do tarot readings, and you can reach me through our website, or you can reach me, just direct message me on Facebook.
And I'm just going to tell you guys, I used to be a non-believer, and I know enough and heard enough of these readings from this dude. So if you want to know the answers,
get a hold of
them. They're there.
You're not wrong.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for everyone that's listened and checked this out. And like I said, we'll be back. I'll be back on Monday that'll be the next closest version of this kind of trio that we'll go down. I'll be back on Monday with Biggie Comedy Adventure. Next Wednesday for 2 Hippies, 1 Drunk. Thank you, guys.
Woo, thank you.
Thank you.